Should I sell everything I have, become a minimalist, and live in my car? Is becoming homeless or is choosing homelessness the answer to try and survive today's economy? Or is this just a growing trend that we're seeing become more popular and glamorous from creators on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram? And it's a question that we have to ask, or at least I've been asked already. And you may have asked yourself or considered the possibility of living in your car due to the circumstances of our economy, your income, your job security, whether or not you've been laid off, if you've seen increases in your rent escalating. Inflation is continuously becoming a problem for more and more middle class, working class Americans. And living in your car could be a way to save money and try to survive this thing and get to the other side. First, let's talk about homelessness. Not only is homelessness a growing problem, but it is also a complex issue with no easy solutions. Poverty, domestic violence, mental illness, substance use disorders. They're just some of the many reasons people are homeless. Some get the help they need, meanwhile, others don't. You may have driven by shelters and food banks and seen the lines stretched out to the streets as people wait to get free lunch and some extra food that they can take home, and that's if they have a place to go home to. And according to some reports, there's actually been a high number this summer where shelters have seen folks coming through who've actually asked if they could just park their car there for a little while, saying, "I'm homeless and I'm living in my car." So the question we need to answer is, why are more and more people living in their cars and why are they homeless? Now, officials say housing for the homeless is in short supply in certain areas for various reasons. Another contributing factor includes mental health issues and drug addiction increased during the pandemic, causing more people to become homeless. Oh, and states ended their eviction moratoriums too. So there's that. So people are actually being put out into the streets now where they haven't been throughout the whole pandemic. And we should expect to see these numbers rise as more and more working class poor and middle class American families meet their fate after trying to fight a tough job market, high inflation, and a summer of extremely high gas prices and increased utility costs for air conditioning to try and beat the heat. For some, there are homeless shelters that offer people a place to live for as long as 6 to 9 months. But their space, resources, and available staff is limited. And as you can imagine, they reach capacity and see their inventories depleted and wiped out pretty quickly. The U.S.'s homelessness issue is truly a humanitarian crisis, and there are contributing factors that make some people harder to reach, especially those living on the streets because of mental illness or substance use disorders. But in recent years, and seemingly growing in popularity since the height of the pandemic, there's been a growing amount of people who are choosing to rethink what is important to them in terms of where and how they live. I've noticed that living in a mobile home has become increasingly appealing to millennials who are curious about a semi-nomadic lifestyle and want to sort of dip their toe in the water. I've also seen TikTok creators like Nikita Crump living in her Honda Civic, which is clearly far from glamorous. But Crump, 31 years old, said she moved into her vehicle in November of 2019 after struggling to pay rent on her $450 a month room in a house that she shared with roommates in Sacramento, California. Might I add, she was also working 2 jobs at the time. She, like many other people, have become unhoused in recent years, largely due to the high cost of living. In January of 2020, over 580,000 Americans were dealing with homelessness, according to a 2021 report from the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Now, the same report found that parts of the country with the highest rates of homelessness also had the most expensive housing. And today, thanks to inflation, rental costs are increasing at the highest rate in over 3 decades, with the median rent surpassing $2,000 per month. In Crump's case, she said she would often have to skip meals in order to make her rent payments, and said she began living paycheck to paycheck and having that daily stress of either using her credit card or going into the negative in her checking account. So in November of 2019, Crump announced on a YouTube channel that she had given her landlord notice and was moving into her car. She said at first she didn't gain many followers on YouTube, but when she started a TikTok page during the pandemic and began posting about the obstacles that she has faced, like where to shower and where to stealth park, her audience started to grow. Crump's TikTok page now has over 1 million followers, and her YouTube channel has over 73,000 subs. So, is this part of the appeal of homelessness? Is this why people are choosing to live in their car? Now, you may have seen my live stream I did yesterday where we discussed some other channels and their homelessness claims and how they are portraying a lifestyle of living in their car, but that was a completely different situation. And if you haven't seen the live stream, I urge you to go check it out. But for those like Crump, maybe living in a car and claiming to be homeless is a new form of small business and side hustle that can garner a following, subscribers, and ultimately income. But if people are choosing to live in their car, is it as easy as just reducing all your possessions to basically become a minimalist and hopping in a Tesla and calling it home? And the only reason I used Tesla as an example is because of the Tesla's 100% EV battery powered powertrain that allows for quiet, stealth camping support and the ability to regulate heating and air conditioning cooling temperatures without killing your battery and straining your alternator overnight. But if you search around, you'll be able to find some pretty good information on what it takes to live the nomad life and live out of your car. Here are some important tips. Organization is key when living in a small space. Whether you live on the road in a large van, an SUV, a truck, a minivan, or a sedan, your space is likely much smaller than a house or an apartment. Even if you're already living in a fairly minimalistic lifestyle, it's going to be a little different now that your home is on wheels. And I can tell you from personal experience, this is true, as my wife, my daughter, and I lived out of a van for about 5 weeks as we traveled the country this summer. Every item I own has a designated place, and I'm working on teaching everyone that they must put everything back where it belongs. Otherwise, things can easily get lost, including space. Also, try to maintain a normal life and routine. You can still eat well, get your exercise, go to work, and hang out with friends. These things can all still be accomplished while living in your car. Living on the road can get lonely, and between the cold temperatures and short days, winters are the hardest. So make sure you're prepared for your environment and the temperature changes. And be sure to keep your vehicle in good condition. Plus, it will be helpful to know some basic car maintenance. Try to regularly go to scheduled maintenance appointments for your car to minimize the chance of a random breakdown or serious problem. And if you're a solo woman traveling to remote locations, I urge you to keep your car in the best condition possible. You should also feel more comfortable knowing some basic skills like how to change a headlight, check your oil, jump your battery, and change a tire. And it is always a good idea to carry extra supplies, such as oil, jumper cables, coolant, and windshield washer fluid. And keep your spare tire full of the proper air pressure too. And make sure to research and plan where you'll sleep ahead of time. Of course, you'll be sleeping in your car at night, but where will you park and will it be safe? Planning this out ahead of time can reduce some added stress of finding a safe place to park for the night when it is late, dark, and you're already tired and ready to go to bed. For safety reasons, it will probably be best to avoid truck stops and grocery store parking lots and look for more secure and possibly patrolled locations. Places where population is low and other people are also living on the road typically feel safer, but there are places that you can pay to park to sleep, as well as free parking on public land in certain areas like in national forests or spots owned by the Bureau of Land Management. You could even download some camping apps like iOverlander that can help you find great spots to car camp. And last but not least, always have an exit plan. Wherever you decide to camp out for the night, it's not a bad idea to park your car in a direction that you can jump in the front seat and leave immediately if you needed to. Also, sleeping with your keys, glasses, headlamp, knife, or some other form of personal protection right next to you in case you need to quickly respond to something is a good idea. Oh, and don't forget to get insurance for the items in your car. Insure the valuables that you plan to keep in your vehicle in case it's broken into, stolen, or caught on fire. Now, this is different than regular car insurance. And unfortunately, these are all very real situations that have happened to people. And one of the best options to financially recover from these is to have renter's insurance for the items in your vehicle. When setting up your policy, be sure to make it clear that you live in your car and that those are the valuables you want the insurance to cover. Sometimes it gets complicated to explain and requires talking to multiple insurance agents, but trust me, it'll be worth it. After all, your car is your home, so you want to protect it and everything inside. And the question still remains to be answered. Should I sell everything I have, become a minimalist, and live in my car? Is becoming homeless or is choosing homelessness the answer to try and survive today's economy? Or is this just a growing trend that we are seeing become more popular and glamorous from creators on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram? Well, make no doubt about it. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, social media, content creation is a great way of earning income, side hustle income, passive income streams, building a brand, building a following, having access to affiliates, sponsored promotions, and other ways of generating income on the side, or primarily if you choose to make this your full-time career. But the question has to come down to, what is your main reason for wanting to live in a car or having to live in a car? If you have no need to live in a car and this is purely a want, then you need to weigh your options and consider all the factors going into it before you make that big leap. If this is a want for a way for you to reduce your overhead expenses and tighten up your budget, maybe eliminate some debt, could be a viable opportunity for you to do that. But are you going to be a content creator while doing it and using this opportunity and this experiment and this experience in this environment to generate you additional income? Are you single? Do you have a family? How many people are going to be living in the car? But if the tables are turned and this is a necessity and you're being evicted, forced out, you've lost your home, you have nowhere else to go, nowhere to stay, then I suggest you do as much research and do your homework as quickly as possible so that you can get better prepared for the situation that you're soon going to be in. Now, granted, some people choose to live this lifestyle and it is fully sustainable. So if you're being forced into this, don't fear, you can survive this as well. You're just going to have a game plan and the mindset for it and do your best to use this situation as an opportunity to improve your current situation, get out of it, get out of debt, maybe increase your earning potential, tighten up your budget, and be ready to move on to the next phase and next step of your life. If you want to talk about this in more detail with me, my contact information will be in the description. You can contact me or hit me up in the private group, which is where we discuss more about finance, personal finance, side hustles, building a business, passive income streams, improving budgets, getting out of debt, repairing your credit, starting a small business, and all the other things that are included with that in building your portfolio, building your wealth, and improving your financial situation. So the links will be in the description. But the question has to be answered by you. And if you're watching this and you've also have already lived in a car or are currently living in a car, please comment below and let us know your experiences, maybe some tips and tricks that'll help some other people out. I would appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.